Get ready for your skin to crawl, your least favourites to brawl, and your blood to boil. Almost. The Cringe King of the UFC belt is on the line at UFC 288. Let's do a montage, shall we? I haven't had coffee in 3 days. I know how Jesus felt in the desert or whatever. Oh, it's so good. If you made it this far into the video, you've got a stronger stomach than me. I've thrown up 5 times just thinking about filming this. But the algorithm demands it of me. My last few videos were still MMA content, but not about specific fights. You should definitely check them out, they were a good time. We had robots, we had Siamese fighting, we had bouncy battles. We had fun, damn it! But UFC 288 is this weekend, and despite the skin-crawling main event, we should get to witness a high-level wrestling masterclass, even if we don't get to see any wrestling. And if you want to find out what the fuck I mean by that, you are going to have to keep watching. And some of the fights on the undercard are Class A, state-of-the-art deliciousness. So without further ado, I'll stop crouching like a little troll under a frickin' bridge. Without further ado, my thoughts. So the main event sees the return of Henry Cejudo, Triple C, bend the knee, top level, cringy. I was gonna say that no one asked him to come back, but I will instead relay a story that shares that sentiment better than I ever could. When Cejudo retired and he was doing his last press conference, he walked off the stage, final time, probably a emotional moment for him, and one of his team shouted, "There'll never be another Henry Cejudo!" And without missing a beat, a journalist from the crowd went, "Thank God!" Preach. But just because he retired from competing didn't mean that he shut the hell up. He tweets more times a day than I say actual things to actual people, which isn't difficult. Okay, he tweets more times a day than he actually has followers. That one's more of a burn. A Gilbert burn. He always seems to be ganging in on whatever story is more relevant than he ever was, and he is a commentator for Eagle FC. So my thought is this, he is a great fighter, so if we have to listen to what he has to say anyway, if we have to be inundated with his fucking awful opinions, we may as well get to see some fights, Cejudo was undefeated at bantamweight and held the flyweight belt at the time of his retirement. He was an Olympic wrestling champ back in the day, and he has notable MMA wins over big names like Cruz, Dillashaw and Moraes. But he's up against another guy who tends to use his wrestling pedigree to smother his opponents. Despite Cejudo saying he isn't impressed and could easily out-wrestle Sterling, I have a feeling we're going to see these two wrestlers fight a kickboxing matchup. When there are two specialists in there, their skills tend to be nullified, and it usually is a chance to find out whose next best skills are best. Wrestling experience doesn't have to mean wrestling. Sometimes it's just that intricate knowledge of, stuffing a takedown, of not getting to the ground, of defense. Defense! That's what we shout at the Manchester Giants every 30 fucking seconds. Defense! Honestly, I'm going to write them some new chants. For Cejudo, that means using his skills to keep Aljo in front of him, because once Aljo takes your back, you're in for a bad time. Aljo is huge for the division, and he really uses his size and his strength to his advantage. And depending on how his recovery has gone, he may not be stepping in there with the neck injury that has plagued his freaking career. He may be better than we've ever seen him, although he said himself that the doctors suggested he take longer to recover, which, is that a macho move? Like, is that, I don't know, is that something that testosterone tells you to say? Because strategically seems dumb to me. Or maybe he's trying to get Cejudo to underestimate him. Plus, Aljo has, like, the active advantage. He's competed 4 times in the 3 years that Cejudo has been sat out. If I say Aldo at any point in this, it's just because I care about Jose more. Sterling is undefeated in his last 8 fights with wins over Dillashaw, Snap, as in Snap, they've both got wins, not like Clueless, Legally Blonde, Snaps for Aljo. Fuck, I've lost control of my own brain. And Piotr Jan. And Cejudo has been, as far as we know, as far as we can probably rightly assume, not spent the last 3 years obsessing over being the champion, like Sterling has. Like, he's retired, so you'd hope he wasn't thinking about it all the time. You'd hope he at least tried to enjoy his retirement. He had child. All we can do is draw lines between the facts. That's all I'm doing here. Cut me a goddamn break. He probably does have a little bit of a mindset disadvantage. And we know how that trickles into the physical. But Cejudo's always had a great fight IQ, and he's been training with John Jones, so there's that as an advantage. Aljo's often touted as a boring fighter, just, you know, dragging people to the ground and keeping them there. The fact that his opponent could do the same to him could make this one more of a casual fan-friendly fight. It's just a shame about their personalities, isn't it? You can cope with one guy in a fight so desperate to promote it that they think that people want to watch/listen their ill attempts at jokes. But not 2. God, Jesus. Other deities, please no. So I thought we could at least turn our discomfort into content. Content, not content. We're definitely not going to be content. And play a game of who did it/said it cringe edition. I'm going to read out a quote/promotional scenario, and you're going to tell me who said it did it. Out of Aljo and Sterling. Fuck it. Aljo and Cejudo. Shall we play? Okay, first quote. What you gonna do when the wrath comes upon you? Your days are counted, Cabbage Patch Head. Who said that? Yeah, Henry Cejudo tweeting Aldo. Okay, which of the two said that they were thinking of adding intergender champion to their list of accolades, taking aim at Valentina Shevchenko, no less? Cejudo. Fucking twat. Who told Piotr Jan that he needed to improve his English and called him an ugly communist potato? Yeah, Henry. Who delivered the following cutting insult to Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy, the absolute freaking legend. Any chance for some clicks? Him and Fatty insult me or throw shade. That one was Sterling. Fatty? Really? He's big. He's just big. Big boned. Who showed up to ceremonial weigh-ins with a load of pillows printed that had his past opponents' faces printed on them and then proceeded just to kick them into the crowd? That's a Cejudo move, isn't it? Who called Alexander Volkanovski an overgrown midget? Cejudo. Who gave away their game plan by tweeting, it's gonna be a sick, I think about 5 C's, finish, the triple booby twister? Sterling. Who's gonna need Botox after this video because she's frowning too much? Me. Hey buddy. Who said? Hi. So who said? I gave it away, but the pun was too good. Actually, did I? Who said I can't wait to kick that peach emoji for all my Mexican people. It was Sterling. How did you do? How'd you do? Don't you feel all warm and fuzzy that these two might beat each other beyond recognition? Cheers to that. Fingers crossed that we both contain and remove the problem. But of course the world of MMA is full of fighters who don't understand how to correctly promote themselves, which makes sense because they're fighters and now they're being made to promote themselves. It's 2 jobs, Dana, it's 2 freaking jobs, and it's your job, Dana. Even the ones that do generally know miss the mark a lot of the time. So before we move on to the more comfortable topic of extreme violence, let's have a more diverse montage, shall we?
Jump is a fight with the best fights in the world. For this, I'm coming here tonight because I want to fight with Chuck here.
Everybody, thank you! And this is still my boy!
Raced across the octagon to embrace Rockhold and kiss him on the cheek.
Ouch. Drew Dober's been cracking recently, hasn't he? And he's back against Matt Frevola. This fight. And that's all I'll say. Look, this fight is a good fight. You know, Matt Frevola is a good fighter. If you just isolate it for the battle it is, yay. But let me ask you this, what the fuck does the UFC have against Drew Dober? He's proven he's a draw, he's proven he's a threat, he's proven he can hang with the big boys. And then have them hanging by their legs, no, have their heads hanging by hanging off their neck, I don't know. There's something else in there. You figure it out. He's proven his loyalty to the promotion, just taking fights. Give him a top 10 for fuck's sake. Top 15 even. Not an unranked guy. Recognised as one of the most exciting fighters on the roster, Dober is currently riding a 3-fight win streak with knockouts in every victory after dispatching McKinney, Alves, Bobby Green. He has 12 wins overall, with 9 of those ending by knockout or submission. He's powerful, he's driven, he's just become a dad. Or he's about to, I don't know. But he's got extra purpose cooking in an oven somewhere, and now he's having to do Sterling's teammate a solid. Not cool. In fact, one of Drew Dober's most recent victims, McKinney, slept Frevola in 7 seconds. Summit in adding up here. That's my abacus. If you don't know what an abacus is, you weren't born in Victorian times. I was. Frevola is 4-3-1 in the UFC. Really hunched today. He is picking up momentum on a 2-fight win streak of his own. There just doesn't seem to be an upside here for Dober, apart from like staying active and staying good in the eyes of the brass, you know, staying in the clique. But he'll just keep steamrolling through them, so get it? Matt Frevola's nickname is Steamroller. He's a rockin' steamroller. Can't access that accent today. And eventually they'll deem Dober worthy. I'm sorry to do this to you, but we're going to have to get a little bit cringy again for the last fight that we're going to talk about. In fact, we've got cringy on one side and ignored by the brass for a fight that he definitely deserved a long time ago on the other side. So it's really quite a full circle, nice little tying up loose ends moment. Soothing. Oliveira versus Dariush. It's fun to say like that. Oosh.
Wrong. Lola's right here, you fucking Brussels sprout. Charlie Olives isn't. Gone and got himself a little injury. Gone and got himself a boo-boo as our Charlie Olives. And before I get to the very exciting co-main replacements, here's a montage of the montage of nonsense about the Oliveira Dariush matchup, because they've rearranged that for 2-8-9. So I'm going to save the actual fight discussion content for that. Smart.
He'll do anything for his UFC career, but he won't do that. R.I.P. He talks about himself in third person a lot, doesn't he, Charlie? Charles walks forward. I want it so bad. Good old Dariush, we can trust him. Kinky. Finishing him inside of 3. Oh, I've made it weird now. It's the start of his downfall.
The second we got the news, Gilly Burns was calling out everyone, basically begging the division, other divisions, to get back in there. Back-to-back main events, baby. We just saw him outclass Jorge at 287. And if this doesn't get him a shot at the belt, well, this, if he wins, doesn't get him a shot at the belt, I just don't know. I don't know. But Belal Muhammad, also in the same position. And you know what? He's a little salty. He's like this guy, Gilly. He's like, this guy's coming for everything that I want. They gave him Hamzat fight. I wanted that. He really wanted that. We know, Belal. You've told us enough fucking times. Now he's talking about the title. I want the title. No, I'm going to have to take it from him. This is my Nate Diaz moment. And while we're getting hype, it's 5 rounds. And according to Dana, both guys wanted it to be 5 rounds. On 2 weeks' notice. Gamers. Obviously, Burns is not long off a 5-rounder, so you'd hope, expect, predict that he is in better shape than self-professed couch potato Belal Muhammad. But these guys are both so desperate to get that shot at Leon, and this is their chance. This is a chance that's just laid in their laps, and if they don't take it, I think we're about to see them take it. That's what I'm excited about. They are going to have to take it. And you'd be hard-pressed to disagree with the winner, and as always, fuck Colby Covington. If this is a game of who can lick Dana's asshole the cleanest, then surely someone who saves a big old card like 288, gets the win, trumps, good use of word, big old, someone who showed up just in case. Just here, just in case. Surely. And I think that guy will be Burns.
What do you think? Who do you think takes home the trophy of the other person's head in each of the fights that I picked out, and which fights did I obnoxiously not even talk about that you are super excited for? Let me know in the comments while you're down there. Oi oi. Hit subscribe and like, and I'll see you next week for something else. Some other kind of MMA related madness. I think we've got a fights you've weird and wonderful, weird and, do with that what you will. But come back next week. Bye!